Silla, along with Baekje and Goguryeo, formed the three kingdoms of Korea. Silla was founded by Bak Hyeokgeose in 57 BC. The kingdom of Silla stood until 935 AD. It lasted around 990 years and had 56 monarchs, making it one of the longest-lasting dynasties in human history. The name Silla was recorded using several Hanja combinations throughout its history to make it sound like the native Korean name. Saro, Sara, Sonabol, Soyabol, Sorabol, and Sobol were all former names of Silla. We had to wait until the year 503 for King Jijung to standardize the characters to what is now used. Silla was known as Shiragi in Japanese and as Solgo or Solho in the language of the Jurchens. In Mongolian, Koreans are still known today as the alteration of Silla and the Mongolian word for rainbow, Sulongos. The founder of Silla, Bak Hyeokgeose, was born in the Jinhan Confederacy, a group of chiefdoms in the southeastern part of the Korean peninsula. His title was Gosogan, or Gosul Han, meaning king in the language of the Jinhan Confederacy. His name meant bright world. In the Samguk-sagi and Samguk-yusa, we find a description of the founding of Silla by Hyeokgeose. During the Go-Joseon period, lived refugees in present-day Gyeongsang-do, South Korea. They lived in 6 villages, and in 69 BC, the heads of the chiefdoms discussed forming a kingdom and choosing a king. The legend goes that in the forest, a strange light shone in the sky near the Najong well in Yangsan. One of the chiefs, Soboldori, found a large egg that was laid by a white horse, and guess what? A boy came out of the egg. When they baited the kid, his body radiated light, and all the animals in the forest danced. The chiefs raised and revered him and made him king at the age of 13. A new state was formed and was named Sorabol. He married Lady Aryong, who was born, as the legend goes, from the ribs of a dragon. The dragon in this case refers most probably to her mother, Lady Saso, who is also the mother of Hyeokgeose. So it seems like they were brother and sister. Lady Saso was from a Chinese royal family and later moved to the Jinhan Confederacy. The legend says that Hyeokgeose and Lady Aryong traveled the realm and helped people improve their harvests. The people called them the Two Saints, or Two Holy Ones. In 37 BC, Hyeokgeose built Gumsong, the city of gold, which is present-day Gyeongju, and he built a royal palace inside. In 28 BC, it is said that the Chinese Lelang commandery invaded Sorabol. They noticed that the people enjoyed piles of grain and didn't lock their doors at night. They thought that this nation was moral and retreated. This seems like a legend with the only goal of showing that this new nation was Confucian and close to Han Dynasty ideals. As a matter of fact, it might be more of a Chinese legend than a Korean one, or at the very least it was written during the Joseon Dynasty. Another story that tries to tie Silla history to the Han Dynasty is about a monument to King Munmu. On it is recorded that he possibly had partial Seongnu ancestry via the Han Dynasty general Jin Midi, who was from a royal Xiongnu family. Xiongnu was a tribal confederation of nomadic peoples who lived in the eastern Eurasian steppes from the 3rd century BC to the late 1st century AD. Some historians claim this because the grave goods of Silla and eastern Xiongnu are alike. Hyeokgeose passed away in 4 AD. His son, Namhae Chachaung, succeeded him. His title, Chachaung, means shaman in Old Korean. Not much is known about Hyeokgeose, but his clan name Pak is very common in present-day Korea. As the founder of the Silla kingdom, the Pak clan name is held in high respect, especially by the Gyeongju Kim clan. Talhae of Silla ruled from 57 to 80 AD. He was born in a small kingdom northeast of Wa, Japan. That kingdom was called Dapanaguk. There is some mystery about what Dapanaguk was, but it seems like Talhae might have been from Ainu origins. In any case, he had Japanese blood. He was born an egg, and his father, the king of Dapanaguk, saw it as an ill omen. The egg was disposed of and floated all the way to Korea, where he was raised by a fisherman. Over the centuries, Silla battled constantly with its neighboring kingdoms of Goguryeo, Baekje, and Gaya. They constantly switched allies throughout the times as they fought for greater control of the peninsula. Silla had the advantage of protection from local mountains, which isolated it to some degree from the other Korean states. It is during this time, in 308, that Girim of Silla gave the country the name Silla. Naemul of Silla, of the Kim clan, established a hereditary monarchy which is considered the starting point of the Gyeongju Kim dynasty, which lasted more than 550 years. They continued to worship the founder Bak Hyeokgeose. During his rule, there was widespread use of Chinese characters and a great influx of Chinese culture. In 377, Silla sent emissaries to China, at the time the Jin dynasty, and established diplomatic relations with its neighbor Goguryeo. Silla allied with Goguryeo because of mounting pressures from Baekje to the west and Japan to the south, but following Goguryeo's expansion to the south and moving its capital to Pyongyang, Nulji of Silla established a military alliance with Baekje in 433 AD to counter Goguryeo. Jinhung of Silla established a strong military force during his reign. He helped Baekje drive off Goguryeo out of the Han River, now Seoul, but then in 553 he breached the alliance with Baekje by taking control of the same area from them. Nulji of Silla had a loyal retainer named Pak Je-sang. He was sent to rescue Nulji's brothers from Goguryeo and Wa. He retrieved the brother held in Goguryeo, but was captured in Wa. He refused to serve the Wa king and died under torture. The story of Pak's loyalty has endured as a popular Korean morality tale. Buddhism was introduced to Silla as well during this time by a Goguryeo monk. By the time of Buphung of Silla, Buddhism has become fairly common in Silla. Buddhism became state religion in 527 after quite an interesting story involving a monk named Ichadon and a fulfilled prophecy. The story goes that Ichadon, in order to convince the opposing court faction of Buddhism's power, planned his beheading. He was executed on the 15th day of the 9th month in 527. there was an earthquake, a solar eclipse, flowers rained from the sky, his head flew to the sacred Gumgang mountains, and milk sprayed 100 feet in the air from his beheaded corpse. This meant that heaven approved of making Buddhism the state religion, and so it happened in the same year. Ichadon was buried in a monastery on Gumgang mountain. The bone rank system was a system of aristocratic rank used to segregate society, particularly the layers of the aristocracy. The closest one was to the throne by blood, the more authority and power it was allowed to wield. This system was strictly hereditary and was basically a caste system. A person's bone rank status decided their official status, marriage rights, as well as the color of their clothes and the size of their house and carriage. Marriage was only possible within the same rank. There were 17 levels of office rank altogether. Because of this system, a queen, Seondeok, was chosen as ruler of Silla since King Jinpyong had no sons and Seondeok was his daughter. As a matter of fact, the next ruler of Silla was also a woman, Queen Seondeok. She was also chosen because of their bone rank system. She was the daughter of King Jinpyong's youngest brother. Bone rank is very close to the idea of royal blood in other societies. The highest ranked was Songgol, meaning sacred bones, and the one just under was Jingol, or true bone. The sacred bone rank was abolished under King Muyol, and thus only true bone rank could become ruler of Silla. The sacred bone rank was very similar to the Jingol rank and referred mostly to the earliest rulers, so abolishing it meant little. This marks the end of part 1. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share. Stay tuned for part 2.